Hello everyone, welcome to this series on cultural studies, and in this video we are going to discuss Perry Anderson. Introduction. Perry Anderson, born in 1938, is a prominent Marxist political historian and theorist renowned for his extensive contributions to Marxist thought and his political role in contemporary Marxist discourse. As one of the foremost contemporary Marxist thinkers, Anderson has been centrally concerned with defining the unity, limitations, and prospects of Western Marxism. This video explores Anderson's major works, his critique of Western Marxism, his polemic with E.P. Thompson, and his enduring influence on Marxist theory and political thought. Early works and historical analysis. Anderson's intellectual journey began with an exploration of the historical antecedents of capitalist society from a historical materialist perspective. His earlier works, Passages from Antiquity to Feudalism 1974 and Lineages of the Absolutist State 1974, are seminal texts that attempt to trace neglected historical connections. Passages from Antiquity to Feudalism examine the emergence of feudalism from the collapse of the classical world. Anderson argues that feudalism arose from the convergent collapse of two distinct modes of production, the slave mode prevalent in Greek and Roman societies and the primitive communal modes of the Germanic invaders of the Roman Empire. He posits that the new feudal mode of production, dominated by land and a natural economy, eventually produced a unified civilization that represented a significant advancement over the fragmented communities of the Dark Ages. However, feudalism's inherent structural contradictions, such as the tension between decentralization of sovereignty and the need for a final authority, contributed to its decline. In Lineages of the Absolute State, Anderson investigates the development of the absolutist state as the legitimate political heir of feudalism. The book's scope extends to the development of absolutism in both Western and Eastern Europe, contrasting these developments with the structural evolution of the Ottoman Empire and Japan. Anderson modifies Marx's formulations to argue that Europe's unique passage to capitalism was enabled by the concatenation of ancient and feudal modes of production rather than a linear transition from one to the other. Western Marxism critique. Anderson's critique of Western Marxism is most clearly articulated in his influential works Considerations on Western Marxism 1976 and in The Tracks of Historical Materialism 1983. In Considerations on Western Marxism, Anderson argues that Western Marxism emerged from the failure of proletarian revolutions in advanced capitalist nations after World War I. This failure led to an increasing separation between socialist theory and working class practice. According to Anderson, the generation of Lenin, Trotsky, and Luxemburg had successfully united theory and practice, basing their theorizing directly on the mass struggles of the proletariat. In contrast, Western Marxism became secluded within universities, where its language became increasingly specialized, sophisticated, and pessimistic. This detachment resulted in a contradictory symbiosis with non-Marxist and idealist systems of thought. In contrast to Western Marxism, Anderson traces an alternative tradition descending from Trotsky. This tradition, unlike the academic focus of Western Marxism, concentrated on politics and economics, was internationalist in scope and communicated in a language of clarity and urgency. Importantly, it was not constrained by Western Marxism's view of official communism as the sole embodiment of the revolutionary proletariat. Anderson sees this alternative tradition as vital for any renaissance of internationalist revolutionary Marxism. In the tracks of historical materialism, Anderson revisits his predictions about the decline of Western Marxism, observing that its traditional stronghold, Latin Europe, was undergoing rapid decline, displaced by emergent Marxist theory in England and America. While he admits that his prediction of the reuniting of theory and practice remained unfulfilled, Anderson argues that Western Marxism had been eclipsed by structuralism and post-structuralism. He critiques these movements for their indiscriminate, ahistorical, and socially reductive linguistic models, which he believes undermine the explanatory power of Marxist theory. Debates and polemics. Anderson's intellectual journey is also marked by a sustained polemic with E. P. Thompson, one of the leading Marxist historians of the time. This debate is documented in their respective volumes, The Poverty of Theory 1978 by Thompson and Arguments Within English Marxism 1980 by Anderson. The central issue in this polemic was the nature and direction of Marxist theory in England. Anderson identified a deficiency in the tradition of Marxism in his native England, a critique that Thompson vehemently opposed. Thompson's The Poverty of Theory criticizes Anderson for what he perceived as an overly abstract and theoretical approach to Marxism, detached from practical and historical realities. Later works and continued inquiry. In his later works, Anderson continues his inquiry into the future of socialism and the challenges posed by contemporary political realities. His collections of essays, English Questions 1992 and A Zone of Engagement 1992, reflect on the future of socialism in the aftermath of Thatcherism. Anderson argues that the central case against capitalism lies in its propensity to breed ecological crisis and social polarization. He emphasizes that the task before socialism is to realize itself in an adequate historical agent, overcoming its debilitating attachment to particular loyalties and working towards international class solidarity motivated by universal ideals of freedom and equality. Anderson advocates for a shift from nation-state loyalty to a broader goal of a European federation, Marxism and emancipation. Anderson's critique of structuralism and post-structuralism is a significant aspect of his intellectual legacy. He criticizes these movements for their ahistorical and socially reductive linguistic models, arguing that they fail to address the concrete realities of social and political life. Anderson poses the critical question of the relationship between Marxism, socialism, and the broader process of human emancipation, which includes the struggles of feminism and the nuclear disarmament lobby. While he acknowledges the possibility of dialogue between these various struggles, he insists that general emancipation cannot be realized without socialism at its center. Influence and legacy. Perry Anderson's contributions to Marxist theory and political thought are profound and enduring. His critique of Western Marxism, his historical analysis, and his reflections on the future of socialism have significantly shaped contemporary Marxist discourse. Anderson's work has reconnected Marxism with non-Marxist thought, particularly in the fields of Lacanian psychoanalysis and Saussurian linguistics, and has sponsored new research across various disciplines. His philosophy for science aimed to reconcile the critique of empiricism and positivism with a realist theory of the natural and social sciences. Despite facing critiques and challenges, Anderson's ideas remain influential. His critique of Western Marxism's detachment from practical struggles continues to resonate with scholars and activists seeking to bridge the gap between theory and practice. Anderson's emphasis on the international dimension of class struggle and his vision for a more unified and coherent socialist movement provide valuable insights for contemporary debates on the future of socialism and Marxist theory. Conclusion: Perry Anderson's intellectual journey is marked by a deep commitment to Marxist theory and a relentless pursuit of understanding the historical and social dynamics that shape capitalist society. His works offer a comprehensive critique of Western Marxism, a nuanced historical analysis of the transition from feudalism to capitalism, and a visionary perspective on the future of socialism. Anderson's enduring legacy lies in his ability to challenge, inspire, and provoke critical thinking, making him a central figure in the ongoing discourse on Marxism and political theory. So this was the discussion on Perry Anderson. We will meet in the next video and discuss some other topic. Until then, goodbye and thank you.